Yo traders, what is going on? It is JB from Faith and Forex, about to give you another masterclass in conquering the financial markets and another bit of insight into the life of Jesus Christ of Nazareth. And I've just planned this properly little crazy trade. I thought just see how this trade plays out, and it's a really, in my opinion, really solid trade. In terms of the probabilities, I don't know the probabilities of it working out, and that's kind of why I wanted to speak to you guys today. There was something really profound, something I figured out which really helped me in my trading journey. And it kind of really does go against the grain of everything that anyone's ever told you about trading. You know, you have to follow all these specific rules, and you got to have these confluences, and you got to do this, and you got to do that, and you got to do this. And I want to just you guys to take a look at this trade I've placed right here. Like, I don't know, to some people it might be a decent trade, but for me, I'd usually go in with a little bit more confirmation. But I've been doing a bit of research myself, and I was planning two trades, right? One could be that price will, continue the trend on the 1 hour just to sort of keep on pushing up, or it's going to basically reverse. So I had two opportunities. My first one would have been a trade like this, right? Something like this, and just let it ride up, right? But I thought, well, the conditions are looking for a potential sell. It's a bit of one of those risky ones, right? It's like not really like the best probability, but I'm happy to take this trade, because if this trade does work out and I'm correct, the profit's going to be like, I'm talking huge. We're going to potentially plan to the next key level on the 1H, which is all the way down by here. So we're talking really big profit. And I was already, this week it's been a cracking week for me. So I was finishing up around break even today, but I thought, let me just take one more stab, and I'm way happier to take a trade like this. And it got me thinking, right? At this time where I figured this out, it was at a point where I was taking so many losses, and I was really just questioning so much in my trading, right? So that's what we're going to speak about today. We're going to speak about losses and how you can really start to deal with them, or probably like eliminate a lot of them, right? So before we begin, I do want to speak on something biblical, and there was just something really beautiful I remembered in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 15, verse 11 to 34, I believe. Basically, chapter 11, you're going to find the parable of the prodigal son. And it is the most beautiful, beautiful story ever. And it just completely highlights the love that our Father has for us. So guys, if you're a Christian, you know the story, let's reiterate it. But if you guys don't know the story, or you're not a Christian, let me just blow you away right now. So in the scriptures, Jesus Christ is being challenged by the Pharisees, the high Jewish sect. And they're saying, why are you eating with sinners? These are bad people. Why are you sitting with them? And he basically goes on to say, if you have a shepherd, right, and they lose a sheep, aren't they going to leave the 99 by there and go and find that one sheep that came back? And wouldn't that guy rejoice and say, look, I found my sheep, even though there were 99 that were already there? And if a woman loses 100 coins, right? Well, sorry, she has 100 coins and she loses only one of them. Doesn't she rejoice, and her face is lit up when she finds that lost coin? So he was saying this is what our Father is like, and he told us a story, and it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. And it's the parable of the prodigal son, and I'm going to paraphrase it. So there was a man who had two sons, and this man was very wealthy. And basically, one of his sons says to his dad, they were going to have an inheritance at some point. But one of the sons said, no, I want my money now, Dad. I'm sick of living with you. I want my money right now. So he says to him, okay, have your money. So he takes his money in a scoff, and he runs off, and he goes off and spends his money. He's having a lavish lifestyle. He's partying. He's doing everything. And actually, at some point, he spends all of his money, and he's actually super poor. And he finds himself working on like a farm. Again, I'm paraphrasing. I'm not 100% sure. But he's working on a farm, and he doesn't even have money to eat. And someone offers him the food that the pigs eat in their troughs. And he was eating his food, and he was thinking to himself, yo, what on earth am I doing, man? Like, I was living the high life, and look where I am now. Wasn't my life so much better when I was with my dad? Like, what on earth have I done? And so he says to himself, do you know what? Maybe I'm going to come back and see, if my dad will take me back. And he makes the comment, my dad's servants get treated better. So maybe my dad will take me back as like a lowly slave or a lowly servant. So he comes back, right? he comes back and he sees his father and he's profusely apologetic. He says, Dad, I've sinned against you so much and I'm not worthy to be called your son anymore, but please, if you'll allow it, please just let me live amongst your servants. And the dad was overjoyed with happiness. He called his servants and he says, kill the fatted calf. Tonight we are going to feast. We are going to eat today. And he was so happy that his son came back, and they partied. They had an amazing time. They rejoiced. And you guys remember, this dad had 2 sons, right? And the other son looks at him and says, Dad, I've been with you my entire life. Never once have I complained. Never once have I been rude. Never once have I denied working for you. And I've never wanted anything from you. And you've never killed the fatted calf for me. And here your son deserts you, treats you like a donkey, treats you like a fool, takes your money, runs off, spends it like an idiot, comes back, and you kill the fatted calf? Seriously, Dad? Like, what? And how many of us feel the same way in certain situations, right? And what does the dad say? He says, son, don't be sad, because everything that I have is yours. Everything that I ever will have is already yours, right? But your brother was dead, and now he's alive, right? Your brother was lost, and now he's found. So trust me when I say this, the scripture is very clear. God will rejoice for one sinner who comes to repentance than all the others in heaven who don't need no repentance. So guys, come home, man. Come home to the Father. He's calling you all. Just go and check out that Bible verse. Gospel of Luke, chapter 15, let me say that again. Gospel of Luke, chapter 15, verse 11 to 34, I believe. But if you go to chapter 15, you're going to find it. And that's what our God says. He says, I don't care if you're going to treat me bad, you're going to do whatever, just come home, son. Come home, daughter. And that's what he says. So guys, that's beautiful. That's just beautiful for me. How amazing is that? No judgment, no criticizing, no punishment. Just a father wants his children to come home. So yeah. Bim shabalom bom bom. Let's go on. Okay, I don't know what the heck I just said, but let's continue. So we're talking about losses, right? Guys, there's 2 sides of this when we're taking losses, right? And you want to deal with your ability to take losses. There's obviously an emotional side, but there's also a technical side, okay? And you can't really have one without the other, because even if you have really good emotional control, you could have a strategy that's kind of doing you over, right? Like, let's not get it twisted. People want to say, oh yeah, losses are normal, go on a losing streak is normal. Yeah, okay, I get that. I totally get that. But some of you guys haven't even done the basics of getting an approach and testing it profusely. Like, is that the right word? Just testing it properly, testing it with diligence. So this is the first step for you guys. Go and review your trading strategy. Go and review all of your data. And if you haven't got data, then boy oh boy, you better start building it. Get an Excel spreadsheet. That's how I started doing it in my first days of trading. I had an Excel spreadsheet. I had a wins and loss. I had the date. I had the time. I had the setup. I had screenshots before and after, and I had notes and annotations. And go and do that for every single trade until you've logged minimum 100. And you make sure that every single trade that you've taken is consistent, every single trade is taken the same way, all of your rules have been applied, and only then, once you have seen that the data shows you that your strategy is profitable and you've got a large enough sample size, then you can say to yourself, okay, well, I'm going through a losing period right now, so I don't need to worry because I know my strategy is tested. I know my strategy works, okay? So that's what you guys need to first of all do. And yeah. And also, when it comes to the technical side, are you guys, when you're planning a trade, like you see this trade by here, okay, it's just kind of fortunate for me that it's worked out in this way. There's no telling that it's going to get past here. There's no telling that it's going to get past here. There's no guarantee the trade's going to work out until that stop loss gets hit, or until I see something which is now going to tell me, actually, it's more probable that price will reverse, okay? So you see what I've done there? I've planned for some scenarios, okay? And if for whatever reason price takes me out before I get that confirmation, so be it. I'm happy to chill for the rest of the day now. I'm happy to finish. But we're not just talking in like a personal life setting. We've also got to relate it to the chart. And what do I mean by this? It's not good enough to say that, oh, take one trade and walk away. And that's okay if you want to do that, but you got to make sure that's tested in your approach. If that's how you tested it, like one trade a day, you just walk away, no problem. But if you tested multiple times, like multiple, times in a day you've traded, consider what could happen. Okay, I've taken this loss, right? Sometimes the market just needs to readjust. Sometimes you take that loss and the market is moving in a different direction. And now you say, okay, I can see now the trend has shifted. Okay, this is what I'm now going to do. So when you think like that, you don't really feel much pain when you take a loss. Like, we're always going to feel a little sting. It's always going to sting, but it's not going to be so bad anymore because you've planned for it, right? And you've also got the data to back it up. Another thing that you guys can do, because we know, and again, this is kind of like to help you. This is the technical side, but this is also going to mean it's going to help you feel better in your decision making. Because guys, we know that it's not as simple as just waking up in the morning and then we just look for this pattern, right? Bish, bash, bosh, boom. It's all well and good in theory. That's what we're looking for. But sometimes, right, price doesn't look as uniform as this. Sometimes this is part of like a counter trend. There are a lot of other factors. What are the higher time frames looking like? What is the data looking like? Whatever you guys are doing. So it's not always a case of just wake up in the morning, roll over, look at my setup and boom, and trade. Sometimes things happen. And before we take a trade, things happen. As we've taken that trade, things happen. During the trade, things happen. So really, we've got three situations that could happen, right? Price is entered. Your trade gets triggered, hits stop loss. It fiddles around for a bit around entry, then hits stop loss, goes into profit, then goes to stop loss, fiddles around at entry, then goes into your profit, hits your target, whatever. There's loads of things that could happen. And different things could happen which could cause your trades to reverse on you, or could allow you to actually not go into a trade. So what this all leads up into is that we all have decisions to make. Okay, and if you've just got your approach and you don't really care about these extra stuff, then you can just kind of skip over this part. But if you are finding that like you can see that you don't quite know what to do. Yeah, sometimes this situation works, sometimes this situation works. When I get this break of structure, it tends to it tends to go in my direction, or when I don't get that break of structure, it tends to go against me, blah, blah, blah. What you guys need to do is gather all those scenarios, and instead of testing a strategy, you're testing out those scenarios specifically, right? So you now know that out of 100 times when price hits that key level, it actually reverses against me 70% of the time. 70 times out of 100, it will reverse at me. So this can allow me to not place a trade, or maybe take my profits out, because even if you don't take that trade, or profits, or you close that trade and price continues to run into more profit, at least you know you made the right decision because it's backed by evidence. And you'll feel better in yourself because even though you're taking losses, every decision you're making is backed by statistical evidence that out of X amount of times, this is more likely to happen. Okay, it's like flipping a coin. Okay, you can sometimes get heads 8-9 times in a row. It's very unlikely, but it can definitely happen. Let me go ahead and double check this. Are we starting to get some okie dokie? Oh gosh, hang on, is that news? There was news today. Hang on. No. Oh yeah, there was. What the heck? I completely missed that. Oh well, hey, maybe that's gonna help us a little bit. Yeah, see, right now I'm looking at this, and I'm thinking if price makes this higher low, right, on the 5-minute time frame, it's actually more likely that it's going to end up continuing in this direction. So I'm probably going to just leave it, but that'll only get confirmed when this candle closes. And this candle close could happen as it gets by here. And also, I could close the trade out, right? Hang on, what's going on here? I could close the trade out, and price could still run into profit, right? There's no guarantee it'll go there. So sometimes you can piece this thing together and think, you know what, I'm going to just kind of leave it, okay? And I think this segues perfectly into the next part I'm talking about, which is all about the emotional side, right? Boy, oh boy, this is a lot to unpack, really, because we've got to take a few things into consideration, right? If you're a newbie, taking losses is going to really, really, really be something like this, like so difficult to take, because we've got so many different avenues that we can talk about, right? The first avenue is just the newbie effect of losing money in the markets, right? That sucks. So that will literally cause you to backtest for 3 months, take a trade, it loses, and suddenly you're on complete tilt, literally after 1 or 2 losses. So it just takes a lot of time to practice and curate those qualities that you want to see in yourself, right? You want to be calm, you want to be disciplined. And this is something that should actually help you guys. Once you have a proven approach, you should actually get some, that should give you some confidence. When you test your strategy, you can see that, yeah, okay, I lose multiple times. And guys, when you're testing your strategy and you take some losses, don't try and fix it. Don't try and fix it. Just keep on testing. Keep on testing, keep on testing, keep on testing. Don't try and adjust for some rules. Oh, I wouldn't have taken this trade here. No. If it hit your steps, 1, 2, 3, 4, boom, take a trade, then you just take that trade, even if you're getting loads of losses in your back testing. Because if you, I'm probably going to close this trade out in a minute because I got a feeling it's going to reverse against me. Maybe. If this candle closes awkwardly, then sure. There's a few things you can also do. You can also take partials, right? You can set your stop loss to half. I think I'll just leave it, man. I can't be bothered. I can't actually be bothered thinking, right? And the reason I can get to this level is because I don't really care about losses, because I know that I'll make money eventually because I have a proven approach. So if you guys have a proven approach, you guys are going to be okay. But it's really not that simple, okay? Honestly, the thing that you need to be aware of is that trading is not really a game of making money. Like at its core it is, but actually even deeper to its core, it's simply a game of probabilities, right? And the reason why people lose money or make money is simply down to their own psychology. So if you can have an iron mind where you don't think about losses because you know it's just part of the game, you'll be okay. But the reason why we actually tend to get really upset with losses is because we want to be at a certain place, okay? Like the reason why you take a 100k challenge and take a few losses and it really messes your head up is because you're most likely wanting to achieve this level of success at a very high level, right? At a very quick pace, where actually you should just kind of chill for a little bit, right? You should just chill and expand your time horizon and just say, you know, I'm going to just take things slowly and just not care. Because when you start to really care and want something, you're just going to get attached to it. And in trading, that's the worst thing you can do. Just take solace. Just make this your absolute mantra, right? It's my job to constantly seek out high probability scenarios and take them, execute on them. Every single time you're in the market, you're making high probability decisions. You're making high probability decisions. It's not about what you think. It's not about what you feel. It's high probability decisions and just letting the trade play out. Just let it play out, man. Yes, sometimes you might make mistakes. You might not take that trade which would have been a winner. You might have to end up suffering more losses, or maybe you missed out on a really big day. Stuff happens, guys. But it's not a marathon. Sorry, it's not a sprint, guys. It's a marathon. Just take it slow, take it easy, okay? And you'll be feeling much less irritated with losses, okay? So that's it. Make sure the approach is tested. Find loads of scenarios which you've tested out of 100 times, which you can see how many times those things play out, like what happens in those scenarios, so you can make better decisions. And just work on yourself, man. Just think, like, why am I so irritated with this? What is it? You know, it's actually in the human condition to not like things. When we lose money, we don't like it because our core instinct is telling us that this is a bad thing, right? It's a threat. And that's actually a very, very valuable piece of information I'm going to give you, is that in our human condition, we don't want to lose things, because obviously as we were primates or whatever, we didn't want to lose things, right? That wasn't good for our survival. So therefore, we still have that in our DNA. So when you take losses, your brain's telling you, oh, it's a threat. Oh no, this isn't good. Fix it, fix it, fix it. Just ignore it. Just ignore it. That's your caveman brain talking. Okay? And when you really want to work on this, just take out a journal, take out a notebook, and honestly, guys, just write these things down. Just write them down. And I like how the music stopped, because we've gotten to the end of the video now. The music has stopped, and this is the most serious part. You get a journal out, and you really start to work on yourself every single day. And if you're finding that handling losses is a problem, then don't think about making money no more. Just think about how you can sincerely improve on this aspect. And you can only do that once you start looking in yourself. But I hope now, I've given you a lot of the blueprint on why you shouldn't care about losses, because trading is a game of probabilities. It's a game of wins and losses. You literally can't have wins without losses. So think about that, right? Stop trying to move so fast. Take things slow, make sure approach is tested, and if you're still feeling like a bit anxious, a bit weary, a bit weird or whatever, go and look at those scenarios in the market and see how many times the situation plays out, and then make your decisions off that. So guys, I hope that helps. Please drop a like, drop me a comment, let me know how I did, let me know if there's anything else you want to see, and you guys can go and see if this trade works out. I'm not going to lie, I'm probably not going to check on this now for a couple hours, and that's another thing I want to say, guys. Start to enjoy your life outside the charts more. Stop looking at your chart 24/7 and just go out and chill. It's all good. One or two trades a day, go out and chill. It's all right, man. It's all right. Like, you find a good strategy where you can make really good money or just a couple trades a day, you're laughing, man. Don't worry about losses. So what? Like, you keep on trading. If you keep on trading your strategy for 30 to 60 to even 90 days, once you hit that 90-day point, you're doing more than anyone else in the market is. So you'll be all right, bro. Like, just take those losses, keep on going, journal, and make sure you're staying consistent in your approach. That is the absolute main thing. You stay consistent in your approach, you'll be okay. But yeah, like I said, drop a like, comment, subscribe, and I shall see you in the next one. Take care, guys. God bless. Have an amazing rest of your day. Bye-bye for now.